Good afternoon, everyone. Today we are here to talk about the sea and its possible applications in human life. Some of our TED mates spoke of renewable energy, and others have suggested concrete projects. And then here we are, three strange guys who saw the cultural impact coming from this huge amount of salted water. So, why are we here? I guess it's all because we all had so much fun exploring the sea with our imagination that, during our brainstorming, we found out how big and deep-rooted the influences of the sea are and how, coming from mythology, they have settled in various fields, both in the past and nowadays.
The topics that we chose to cover are the following: ancient mythology and the traces of the most famous Mediterranean poem, and in particular, the influences that we can find in our everyday life, such as in comics, movies, or our beloved video games. One of the first evidence that comes to our mind when we think of sea mythology, for sure, is the Odyssey. And one of the first episodes that come to our mind when you think of the Odyssey is for sure the one after Odysseus lands on Polyphemus Island. Odysseus, after landing on the island, in fact, takes advantage of the poor Cyclops' naivety and stabs the Cyclops with a hot stuff in his eye under the name of Nobody. That's when Poseidon, the god of the sea, stands up for his lovely son and dooms the poor Odysseus to wander for years to no end in the sea. Pushed by the wind through the Strait of Messina, Odysseus has the unpleasant pleasure of meeting two marine monsters, Scylla and Charybdis, that Homer describes with the following words: "The gale from the west had now spent its force, and the wind got into the south again, which frightened me lest I should be taken back to the terrible whirlpool of Charybdis. This, indeed, was what actually happened, for I was borne along by the waves all night, and by sunrise I reached the lock of Scylla and the whirlpool." Now, let's go back to the present. Where do we meet sea mythology in our ordinary activities? For example, while you're reading a comic book, or while you're entertaining yourself with a video game, or even just while you're watching a movie. For example, have you by chance heard of Aquaman? He's a DC superhero known for taking his energy and power from the sea, and he can even communicate with sea creatures.
Wanna know a secret? The movies are coming out soon, and for animation movie lovers, a classic is for sure the Disney adaptation of an historical legend of the sea, Atlantis. But other sea masterpieces are Moana with Finding Nemo and Finding Dory. Moana is personally one of our preferences. Apart from this Hollywood production, many waves of support rightfully go to Hayao Miyazaki, the notorious manga artist. Set in the ocean and not only, is Ponyo on the Cliff by the Sea, the story of a beautiful goldfish trapped in a jar on the beach by the 5-year-old Suzuki, that, upon rescuing her, names her Ponyo. But Ponyo is not an ordinary goldfish. In fact, she is the daughter of a masterful wizard and a sea goddess. Ponyo uses her father's magic to try and transmute herself in a young girl. Also, she is too tiny for such transformation, after falling in love with Suzuki. But Ponyo's father sends the ocean's waves to find her. That's when the adventure begins.
Now, to the topic that my group mates and I have the most at heart, Pokemon. There are lots of water-type Pokemon, and some sea ones are based on ancient stories. For example, here are some of our favorites: Piplup, Lapras, Vaporeon, Popplio, Clamperl, Seadra, and a very cool Squirtle. Worth of being shared is the story of two brothers that, in one of the many Pokemon video games, are faced by a villain that decides to kidnap the youngest of the two, Marill. That's when Ezreal, with the help of the player's team, is able to rescue his little brother. Another story worth of being shared is the one of Magikarp. Magikarp isn't known for being a strong or skilled Pokemon. It is indeed one of the most useless and weakest Pokemon, as the Pokemon Guide describes it. But what's amazing about this Pokemon is that through hard work and passing through many struggles, this useless splashing fish can evolve into an amazing dragon. Doesn't it remind us of Scylla?
You may be asking yourself, what's the point of this incredibly amazing presentation? Well, there's no point really, but Mythology might be a great conversation, start an informal dinner, or even an icebreaker for one of your important days. It has put us together and it could do the same with you. Thank you.